Boston Bruins fans are a dedicated and honorable bunch. Do you know their history? Do you celebrate all the success of the Bruins through the years, through the formation of the team, the current day? And this is coming up. It's the anniversary very soon in 1979 when the Boston Bruins went into the stands to fight with the New York Ranger faithful, and it was tremendous. Now, according to blackgoldhockey.com by the great writer Max Mainville, historical franchises like the Boston Bruins have often been around for so long that a character, no matter how much time passes, will always be associated with them. Ask any longtime hockey fan, the Boston Bruins were not called by their actual team name. No, they were known by most as the Big Bad Bruins. Of course, during the early days of the National Hockey League, fighting was a typical event during a contest. Fans often went to hockey games in hopes of seeing gloves sprawl across the ice surface, fists being thrown at helmetless heads, and the resulting penalties that left players stranded in a sin bin for minutes. The Bruins, often in their heated rivalries with fellow Original Six combatants, including Montreal and Toronto, participated in their fair share of brawls. However, none was quite as bizarre as the brawl on December 23rd, 1979. In my group of friends, we call it Big Bad Bruin Day. Here's what happened. The Boston Bruins were playing the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden in a pre-Christmas contest. That year, Boston was recovering from the loss in the playoffs just several months before to Montreal in the semifinals when they had the Habs against the ropes, so they were still looking for game for the 1980 season. The Bruins came into the Sunday night contest as one of the best squads on the 1980 season. They had a 1995 record and were taking on a Rangers team that was hovering just around the 500 mark with a 16-5-5 record. Of course, Phil Esposito was still there. Boston was coming off a 5-2 loss to the Flyers, which was a game after a 10-0 blowout of the lowly Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, Rangers' Mary Marois opened the scoring in the first period and gave the Blue Shirts a 1-0 lead in the first intermission. Bruins forward Rick Middleton evened up the score sheet in the middle frame, but New York scored two more before the end of the period to take a 3-1 lead heading into the third. Now, in that final 20 minutes, O'Reilly and the great Bobby Lalonde scored a power play goal each to equal the score of 3 apiece, leading to the great Stan Johnson's 6th goal of the season to give Boston a 4-3 advantage. The goal that would end up being the deciding marker in this game, giving the Bees a win on the road. Now, it is important to note that his game was very physical. Fights and penalties filled the stat sheet, and tensions were flaying on both sides. As the final buzzer rang, officially awarding the win to Boston, pandemonium ensued. Now, Bruins forward Al Secord, who would never back down for a fight, started things off with a sucker punch to Rangers forward and soft guy Ulf Nielsen as the players started to head into the locker rooms, saying it was an eye for an eye, as Nielsen had sucker punched Secord earlier in the game. As both teams got into a scrum, a New York Rangers fan by the name of John Capitan reached over the low-level glass and used a roll-up program to hit Stan Johnson in the head, drawing blood. Capitan also took the stick out of Johnson right out of his hands. According to SJ, he just reached over the glass and whacked me in it. I put my stick up to protect myself, and he just took it. I can't be hitting no fan with a stick, really. So I just let him take it. Now, Terry O'Reilly, and I talked to him at an alumni game in Woodstock, New Brunswick in 2010 about this incident. He admitted it 100%. He was known for his bruising attitude and constant fights throughout his career, racking up the most penalty minutes in franchise history, with 2,095 immediately stepped up to defend his teammates. O'Reilly climbed over the glass to wherever Capitan was still in position of Johnson's stick. Once the rest of the Bruins saw O'Reilly charge the stands, they followed suit, similar with the Hanson brothers in Slapshot just a few years later. Before long, the majority of the players in black and gold were in the stands, throwing fists with fans in the MSG. Capitan was able to get free of O'Reilly, who said in an interview that he was attempting to detain the fan and headed up the rows of seats until Peter McNab and, of course, Mike Milbury chased after him, eventually grabbing hold of the New Jersey native, bringing him back down to the ground. It was at this moment that Milbury removed the show of Capitan, gave him a whack, and tossed the shoe onto the ice as a sign of dominance, I guess. Milbury confessed, I grabbed the shoe, took a little tug at it, and then sort of double pump, Milbury said. I don't know if I hesitated for a minute because I thought I'd be vilified for the next 30 years. But I gave him a cuff across the leg, and I did what I thought was probably the most egregious thing of all. I threw his shoe on the ice. Long after the ordeal, A group of roughly 300 Ranger fans rocked the Bruins team bus and had to be dispersed by 8 local police officers. Now, Capitaine, his brother James, his father Manny, and a friend Jack Guttenplan were charged initially with disorderly conduct, but the charges were dropped at a later date. The fans also opted to not press charges any of the 18 Bruins who attacked the stands, including the threesome of Milbury, McNab, and O'Reilly. That doesn't mean the Bruins got away without punishments. Terry O'Reilly was subsequently suspended for 8 contests, while Milbury and Peter McNab were suspended for 6. All of them were fined an additional $500, and all the other members of the Bruins roster were also fined up to $500. All except goalie Jerry Cheevers. He wanted nothing to do with the incident from the beginning, jokingly saying, "I was already on my second beer." Now, not long after this dramatic event, on the night of December 23rd, 1979, the league made a decision to raise the glass between the players and the fans, which is what modern-day NHL fans should be used to. Now, the low glass had been an issue in many sports venues in Canada and the States at that time, and I'll give an example. There was a rink in Woodstock, New Brunswick, that not only had low glass, they had chicken wire in the opposing side of the rink. So the home rink side of the rink had full glass, but the other side had chicken wire, and people would literally take big pens and go, stick to players. And I know that because there was a 13-year-old player I covered from the Jack and Rebellion team that went down for a tournament, and he said, "Look at my jersey." He said, "It's all marked up." But the video of this, it's not a fake. This was what really happened. But Milbury did kind of a pause after he hit him with the shoe, saying, "Nobody stopped me." He hit him again. It's like Mills Lane. He hit him again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody on the channel, the Boston fans. We've been doing a lot of Boston Bruins podcasts. You've been supporting this in a great way. And you got to understand that every Canadian sees a Boston Bruins squad as a Canadian squad because of the amount of great patriotic Canadians that played for them through the years for Team Canada or otherwise. But nothing bet a Ranger-Bruin rivalry game, because no matter how good the Rangers were, the fans were even... they tried to be a 7-man, if that's a proper term, 6 players on the ice, but this time you mess with the wrong Bruins, because the Bruins back then had established themselves, don't mess with us. Yeah, and Ricky Middleton told me that. He said, "We weren't there to hurt anybody, but if you cause problems for us, we were going to finish it." So thanks for listening. If you like what we're doing in our Boston Bruins podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.